Welcome to another Football Manager experiment with me, Paul, otherwise known as Golden FM. Now, before we get cracking with this episode, with this experiment, I'd just like to draw your attention to my social media outlets such as Twitter, Facebook. All the links are in the description below, so give me a follow, give me a like. You can follow my personal Twitter account as well if you like, that's there. And Twitch as well. Hopefully we'll do some sort of streaming at some point. And also links to my other videos such as my other experiments, my West Ham and my Nottingham Forest career that are ongoing at the moment. So check them out, that would be much appreciated. So today's episode is very similar to what I've done on two previous occasions. It seems to be an annual occurrence now, where I swap the Barclays Premier League with another division in England. So in 2013 I did the Premier League swapped with League 2, the Championship swapped with League 1 in the same video. Did, I think, 3 episodes of that, holidayed through and just saw all the carnage that occurred. And then in 2014, last year, I did the Barclays Premier League swapped with the Conference. But this year I'm going big. We're going full out. We're going the Barclays Premier League swapped with the Vanarama Conference North and South. And the Championship also. I mean, I've just switched the leagues round, meaning that obviously there's a mix of Premier League and Championship teams in the North and South divisions of the conference. Now, I've tried to make it geographically accurate. I think there's a couple of exceptions. I think Wolves, technically, if they were that low, would be in the Conference South, because there's, if you look online, they've got the outline of England and the counties highlighted, and I think the Midlands would be in the South. There's sort of a barrier whereby they could be in the North or South, depending on how many teams are in each division. But I've basically done it the furthest North teams and then the furthest South teams, and that's how I've split it. So we've got the likes of Blackburn, Leeds, Man United, Newcastle, and I've tried to make 10 Premier League teams, 10 Premier League teams in the North and 10 Premier League teams in the South, and 12 Championship teams and 12 Championship teams in the South. I think that's right anyway, but it's not at the end of the world if it's a bit inaccurate there. But here we go, the Conference South as well. Now I'm planning on uploading this database to Steam, so that link will be put in the description below for the Steam workshop. So install that and then you can play on this if you wish. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously, then in the conference we've got some, I think, one Championship team, which is Rotherham. It's all done on reputation, so there had to be one Championship team in the conference, simply because this season there's only 21 Conference South teams rather than 22. I looked into this, and it's Salisbury City were removed, meaning there's only 21 teams. Next season, though, 3 come up and only 2 go down, meaning it will be 22 in the Conference South once again. So that screwed things over a little bit when I was swapping it around. It took about 4 attempts to get it right, but Rotherham are the only Championship team that are in the conference because they're the lowest reputation team in the Championship. There was 1 extra place to be put here, meaning they got in, and the same goes for League 2 and League 1, where the lowest team always has the highest is always in the higher division. So in this Championship we've got the likes of my local team, or old local team, Chelmsford City, Stalybridge, Worcester, and then in the Premier League we have teams like Bishop Stortford, Concord Rangers, Gainsborough, Hyde, Lowestoft. So this is really going to be very interesting, I think. I hope so. Please leave a like if you enjoy this video. There's going to be a few different parts to this, possibly 3-4 parts. The first video, this video, will only be 2 seasons because I've rambled on a bit now. So you're probably a bit bored and it's probably dragging on. But I'm only going to do 2 seasons. If you find it interesting, then continue, watch part 2, part 3, part 4 if I do a part 4. I don't know how many parts there will be, we shall see. It depends how interested you still are by the end of part 2 or 3. But the aim is to see how many teams get back into the Barclays Premier League from the Conference North and South, like the original teams, like Man United, Chelsea, who are most likely going to get promoted almost every season and get back there. But what will happen to these teams that manage to reach the Champions League and get Champions League TV money, Premier League TV money? Will all these teams go from being, poor or, really low reputation, perhaps have nice, secure finances to start with? What will happen to them when they get all that money? That is the key. What will happen to the big teams? Will their players leave? Will they go into administration? What will happen? It's just going to be fascinating. So I hope you enjoy this journey. I'm going to get started now, and we will holiday to the end of the first season. So here we go. It's June 2015. You can see the insecure jobs on the right hand side. We'll see how many people have got sacked in this first season from the different divisions, I guess. But first of all, we'll skip down to the Conference South first of all and see who got promoted. Now, as you can see, Chelsea went up, and Arsenal from that playoff final. Chelsea went up 12 points ahead of Arsenal, which is quite a big gap considering there's some big teams in this division. Arsenal, Tottenham, Swansea and West Ham were in the playoffs of the Conference South. Cardiff finished above QPR and Southampton, Premiership teams of course, and West Brom down there. Aston Villa all the way down there. 10 points deducted from QPR because they went into administration, but they still managed to finish 7th. Birmingham and Brentford went down. I guess two teams had to go down from this division. Will they come back straight away? We'll see, I guess, in the next season. Well, 2 seasons' time, whether they get back straight away. Brighton just about surviving, 6 points ahead of Birmingham. But those two teams really did suffer. So going on to stats, let's have a look at top scorers and what sort of players are still around. Vargas, top scorer with Troy Deeney with 20. Isla, top assists. Eden Hazard is still at Chelsea. We'll have to have a look at the transfers, but you can have a look at the average ratings of these players, because most of these players have stayed. Where are they going to go? You can't just offload a whole division of top quality players. The teams in the Premiership now cannot afford these sort of players at this point, but they might do in a couple seasons' time. Transfers wise, so we can see the biggest fee was Victor Wanyama going to AS Monaco for 11 million. Schürrle went to Bayern Munich. Claudio Jakob went to Man United within that Conference South division. That's what happened. Chiriches to Barcelona, Monreal to Seville, Charlie Austin to Southampton. That's a transfer within the division. But all these transfers, a lot of them actually occurred between the Conference South and North, or within their own division, which is very, very interesting. Ben Pringle dropping down a division from the Conference to Fulham. Same with... has anyone else? There's probably other players that have dropped down. Let's have a look at the manager movements. So you can see Paul Lambert went out. In came John Ward. Birmingham, Lee Clark went out. Brentford lost Mark Warburton. Brighton lost Sammy Hippier. Palace lost Neil Warnock. Fulham lost Neil Ardley. Reading lost Nigel Adkins. Southampton lost Koeman. And West Brom lost Alan Irvine. So fascinating first season. Let's have a look just at the top 2 and see. They've still got Jose Mourinho. Let's just have a look at the top goal scorers. Diego Costa with 28. But effectively, this is a Premier League mixed with a Championship. So they are, I suppose, going to be similar sort of goals and average ratings at this point. It's when all the divisions get muddled up in a couple seasons when things will be really weird. So let's look at Arsenal, who also went up, who still have Arsene Wenger in charge. Goals wise, top scorer Giroud with 31 goals and Welbeck. Sanchez all the way down there with 8. Average rating, Per Mertesacker and Koscielny, both with 7.43, so the defence was obviously important for them. So let's go up to the Conference North. You can see already Man United won the playoff final 4-0 against Everton. This is the league. Man City 4 points ahead. Here we go. Man City 4 points ahead of Man United in second. Liverpool losing out. Everton and Newcastle also losing out in the playoffs. Now, of course, 3 teams had to get relegated from the Conference North. So Bolton, Blackburn and Blackpool all going down. The 3 Bs. Blackburn were deducted 10 points. So if they hadn't been deducted those 10 points for administration, they'd have survived quite comfortably, in fact. So their finances are insecure. Their reputation's gone down to 1 star. I mean, what's happened to Man United? They're still on 4.5, but that might be because they've got relegated. The likes of Blackpool also 1 star because they've been relegated, and Bolton, they're once again the same. But Sheffield Wednesday, they're 2.5. So the simple fact that they've gone down, their reputation has plummeted. So let's look at the stats. Top scorer in this division was Falcao with 32 goals. 40 goals in all competitions for him. Crazy. So obviously he's on loan to Man United, so I can't imagine they'll be able to sign him. He'll go back to Monaco now. Barini was second. Balotelli also got 18. Dzeko with 17 there. Juan Mata, top assist with 25. Miles ahead of anyone else. What a season for him. Incredible season. These are the main transfers. Lucas Leiva going to Atletico Madrid. We've seen Claudio Yacob already. Antonio Valencia going to Real Sociedad. Clichy from Man City to Arsenal. I mean, that's unusual. He's gone back. Michael Carrick to Chelsea. Some interest. I mean, you wouldn't see these transfers normally. You wouldn't see Michael Carrick go to Chelsea, would you? This has just screwed things over so much. It's just brilliant. I love it. Can this happen in real life? It'd just be amazing. Let's have a look at the manager movement. So Blackburn, they got rid of their manager, as did Bolton and Burnley. Derby as well, losing Steve McLaren. Can't talk. Roberto Martinez left as well. Leeds lost their manager, predictably. Nigel Pearson left Leicester. Middlesbrough and Newcastle got rid of Alan Pardew as well. So, I mean, some of these names. He's Mark Venus. He's at Leeds now. So let's have a look. Let's go up the divisions gradually and see. We won't quite look in as much detail at the middle ones for now, as a lot of them we can probably just skip through. But the Vanarama Conference was won by Sheffield United. Bradford also went up in the playoffs, beating off Rotherham, Bristol City and Peterborough. Despite Rotherham obviously being the championship team in this division, they were unsuccessful at going up. Sheffield United and Bradford promoted. Scunthorpe, Crewe, Fleetwood and Crawley went down to the Conference North and South. So going up, League 2. Portsmouth won the division. Burton second place, just behind them, goal difference. Wickham also going up, in Southend also going up in the playoffs. Luton and Cheltenham going down. League 2. We can see Cambridge won the league. This is League 1. Cambridge won League 1, just ahead of Eastleigh on goal difference. FC Halifax going up as well in the playoffs, I guess. And Dover, Telford, Macclesfield and Southport were relegated. You can see some of the manager movements on the right hand side if you're interested as well. Let's just go up again to the... Oh no, we've gone back down again. Let's go back up. Back up to the Championship. So, promoted to the Premiership, getting all that money. Boreham Wood, Ebbsfleet and Sutton United going up in the playoffs. Hednesford, Boston United and Weston-super-Mare going down to League 1. Disappointing for them. So, those three teams will be in the big money now. Premier League is second reputation-wise. That will probably drop over time. That's another thing to look out for. But champions of the Barclays Premier League 2015 are Hayes and Yeading. Well done. Only just ahead of Wealdstone. Unlucky. The infamous team now. Finishing second, just behind on 2 goals. So it just shows how close it was. They won with 64 points. That's like 5th place in the Premiership usually. Going down, Concord Rangers, disappointing. Leamington and Gainsborough also going down. So that really is a shame. But Hayes and Yeading, let's look at them and see who their top scorer was. 8 goals. And they've won the league with a guy that scored 8 goals. That is... What on earth? How many goals did they score? They scored 45 goals in 38 games. Conceded 33. That is ridiculously low. The goal differences are just so close, apart from a couple teams really flopping. Everything else is just... That is amazing. Top scorer was Barnes... What's his last name? Barnes Homer for Whitehawk. They actually had the 2 top scorers. They were the top scorers in the league with 59 goals. Javi Rodriguez, J-Rod for Oxford City, getting 12 goals as well. Richie Allen. Average rating wise, Clint Easton, top. Most assists was Gareth Gwilym for Concord Rangers. Some good stuff here. Let's see the transfers. So the biggest transfer was Junior English going from Solihull Motors to Colwyn Bay for £950. and Dale Tong, Torquay to Whitehawk for £775. The rest of the transfers were free. That is brilliant, isn't it? Did anyone get sacked in the English Premier League this season? Quite a few, in fact. Quite a few left or resigned or whatever. So Hyde getting rid of their manager. So there we go, that's the end of the first season, but we're going to have a look at the cup competitions quickly and see how it affected the teams that would usually win the FA Cup. So Hull actually won against Man United. So looking at it at a sort of tree view, we see Hull beating Stoke in the semi-final, Man United beating Birmingham, who were relegated from the conference north or south in the end anyway. So Stevenage getting through to the quarter-finals, Ipswich 2, Chelsea and Crystal Palace, Harrogate getting all the way to the fifth round. Of course, those teams started in the third round, and the Premiership team, the usual Premiership teams, had to start, way back. First round, qualifying rounds as well. I suppose third qualifying round. Arsenal beating Heybridge 4-1. That's a local team of mine. Yeovil just somehow, there's an invisible team there. They managed to beat them. Birmingham won 4-0. Interesting stuff. Now the Capital One Cup was won by Tranmere against Morecambe 2-0 in the final. So that's a bit more interesting, isn't it? Although, is this the Capital One Cup? Where are all the typical... You'd have thought I suppose the Premier League teams, of course, aren't in the Capital One Cup. It's the League Cup. So there we go. That's obviously allowed one of these teams to win. Tranmere Rovers beating Morecambe in the final to win the 2015 Capital One Cup. That is excellent. Community Shield, Man City won 3-1 against Arsenal. And then Johnston Paints Trophy was won by Dagenham and Redbridge against Burton. Now this is meant to be the FA Trophy, I think. This must be a name problem with the real names fix I have. But Man City beat Arsenal 3-1 in this competition as well. On 28th of March 2015. So yeah, that's the FA Trophy, I guess. Wow. Is there anything else? I think that's everything we need to go over. So I'll do one more season of this rather long video, but it's very interesting, and then we will finish the episode. In fact, we need to look at the Champions League, don't we? Just beforehand. This is the wrong one. So you can see Bayern Munich won the final. So how far did the English teams get? Oh, this is the first qualifying round. Semi-final. So the final, let's see the final. Let's see who won the final. Bayern Munich beat Dortmund in the final. Arsenal managed to get through to the quarter-final, so that's well done to them, considering which division they're actually in now. First qualifying round, Liverpool lost, Man City and Chelsea also lost. So, Europa League, we'd better do that as well. Euro Cup. Let's have a look at the final. That was won by Benfica. See how far the English teams got. Tottenham got to the semi-final, losing against Inter. Quarter-final, no other English teams. Second knockout rounds, Everton lost against Torino. And that's probably it, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so let's do the second season. So, at the end of the 2015-16 season, this is the Conference South table. As you can see, Tottenham went up with Cardiff. So there's a typical championship team in real life going up ahead of the likes of Swansea, Palace, West Brom, Southampton, West Ham, Villa. But Tottenham ran away with the division, only losing 4 games, 102 points. Cardiff went up as the playoff finalist winners. Going down, Maidstone, Margate and Dorchester. The 3 teams that came up went straight back down, as you'd predict. Dorchester with 4 points and minus 127. Maidstone also got minus 107. Hereford minus 70 as well. Crawley minus 39 surviving. Obviously those 2 teams came down from the division above. West Ham 70 points. The likes of Fulham down there. Villa down in 13th with 61 points. Troy Deeney top scorer again, 27 goals. Brown Adeye as well for West Brom. Chris O'Grady for Brighton. Ericsson was top average rating. James Morrison and Malumbu were top assists for both for West Brom. So it's been a good old season, an interesting season. Let's have a look at the stats. just have in more detail. You can pause this and have a look yourself at the players listed. Transfer wise, there's probably lots of transfers going out by now. You'd have thought so anyway. So the top one was Sean Murray from Watford to Hayes and Yedding, spending their money wisely on Sean Murray from Watford. 6.5 million. So Whitehawk also making a big signing. The wonder kid Dele Alli, who moved originally from MK Dons to Fulham, dropping down a division for 2 million, and then going up to Whitehawk in the Premier League. Osvaldo from Southampton to Inter, Michu from Swansea to Napoli, Harrison Reed, Southampton to Hayes and Yedding, 4.5 million. He's a young player. So Hayes and Yedding spending, they're not going to buy world beaters at the moment because they won't be able to afford them, but they're just spending their money wisely. They don't need world beaters to win that division at this current moment in time. So some very interesting transfers there. Manager movements, you can have a look. West Ham losing Sam Allardyce and Millwall getting rid of Ian Holloway are examples there. So let's go up to the Conference North. So Liverpool going up with 95 points ahead of Newcastle, 2 points ahead, and Hull going up with 88 in the playoff position. Everton not going up. Huddersfield made it into the playoffs. Like to Stoke, Sunderland down there. Fleetwood, FC United and Workington went down with 1 point, minus 137 points. Poor old Workington. They just bullied them. That is uncalled for. But Fleetwood, the first sort of real team that's been relegated twice in a row, in fact. So they're the first team to get relegated twice in a row. Top scorer, Mamadou for Stoke, and Tanucci for Leeds second. John Stones top of the average rating along with 2 other Everton players there. Most assists was Craig Bryson for Derby County. So this is fascinating stuff. Let's have another look at the player stats in more detail. You can pause this and have a look yourself. Transfer wise, we can see the top player going out was Coutinho to AC Monaco. They seem to be signing a lot of players. 22 million. Saka also going back to PSG for 10.5 million. David Santon going to Atletico. Iago Aspas going to Villarreal. And then Whitehawk making a couple signings here as well. Noah Dicko and Stevie May. Good signings for them, I think, in that division at the moment. Barclays also making a big signing, 1.8 million for Chris Wood. Who else on here? Wildstone, 3 signings there. McLaughlin, George Ray and Frederick Fisker. Whitehawk have been all over it, haven't they? They must be rich. We'll have a look at them in more detail when we go back up. But they are rich from that TV money, and their reputation's gone up to 2 stars now. In fact, we'll have a look at some of the what are Liverpool now? 4 stars, they've dropped down from 4.5. What about Everton? Down to 3.5. Finances are only okay. Burnley down to 3 stars. Insecure finances. A lot of these teams are going to suffer now with those big wages down there. I mean, I don't know if there's some sort of weird TV deals going on now because of these teams down there, but well, it's really interesting stuff. So the conference, the normal conference, Chelsea, as you can see, have gone up. Arsenal won the league though, 1 point ahead of Man United. Man City also missing out. Chelsea going up via the playoffs, beating Man United 4-0 in the final. All these 4 teams got over 100 goals that season. That is amazing. Man City and Arsenal with a goal difference over 100. Bristol City also doing quite well. Barnsley not bad in 6th place. But Swindon, Peterborough, Notts County and Cheltenham were relegated. Danny Welbeck, top scorer, 33 goals, ahead of Diego Costa. Giroud and Aguero also scoring quite a few goals. David Silva, 31 assists. That is incredible. That really is. And average rating wise, Aguero was top. We'll just have a look at the stats in more detail. You can pause this once again and have a look. Pritchard for Gillingham only conceded 1 goal. I guess he only played 1 game. Oh no, wait, that can't be right. How has he only conceded 1 goal? That doesn't make any sense. Where are Gillingham? Gillingham are there. They conceded a lot more than 1 goal, so I'm a bit confused. Unless he moved. I'm really confused by that. Never mind, someone may spot a reason for that. But let's move on to transfers. So, Negredo, top player to leave to Valencia. I think that was a planned transfer anyway. So I suppose some of these teams are getting lots of money down there as well, which is helping their finances long term, so they can use those finances to get back to the Premier League by buying sensible players that fit the division that they're in. Although some players of course are staying. Matic also leaving to Lazio, Dzeko going to Real Madrid, Philippe Luis going to Real Madrid, Joel Campbell going to Lazio, Whitehawk signing Ben Davies. Lots of signings obviously going up to the top division now. Manager movements. Arsene Wenger has left. Has he retired? Yeah, he's retired. Sami Hyypiä coming in to replace him. That's the only... there's some others. Darren Ferguson leaving Peterborough. Let's go up to League 2. So, Morecambe, champions, ahead of Carlisle. York also going up. Rochdale in the playoffs as well, beating Sheffield United, Bradford and Shrewsbury. Telford and Southport going down. Top scorer, Jack Redshaw for Morecambe. Top assist, Andrew Wright. Average rating, Bob Harris. League 2, what's been happening here? Portsmouth going up for a second season in a row. Torquay also going up. Barnet as well. Southend losing out on a second successive promotion. Just about losing to Barnet on penalties in the final. Welling, Dartford, Western-super-Mare and Boston United going down. I think that's them going down for a second season in a row, a couple of those teams maybe. Top scorer Tom Pope for Southend. Jack Watmoth was top average rating and David Worrell was top assists. Let's keep going up to the Championship. Up we go. Cambridge top, 114 points. Wow, quite far ahead of Altrincham as well. Concord Rangers in 5th with 81, but they were promoted via the playoffs, so going back up to the Premier League, which they were relegated from last season, of course. Chelmsford City going down. No, that is bad. And the second Bradford team, Bradford PA, going down, along with Solihull Motors as well. Top scorers, James Constable for Eastleigh, 27 goals. Cracking season for him. And Connor Townsend was second, was top average rating, sorry. Mark Gower, top assists. So, who won the Barclays Premier League for 2016? It was Whitehawk. All that money they spent has paid off. Hayes and Yedding down in 3rd, but Whitehawk dominated. Obviously, they've got lots of money to spend. The likes of Ebbsfleet are also rich, and Hayes and Yedding are rich too. But Whitehawk are the ones that have taken advantage of this and powered ahead. St Albans, Bishop Stortford and Maidenhead were relegated. Noah Dicko was top scorer for Whitehawk. Top average rating as well. George Moncur, an ex-West Ham youngster, top assists for Sutton United. So some of these players are just have turned it around, turned their careers around, playing in these competitions. It's quite funny, really. So there's the stats. If we look at transfers, you can see the top player was Sean Murray, of course. Dele Alli also to Whitehawk there. Although, I mean, Hayes and Yedding actually had the big two of the three biggest signings, but Whitehawk then had a hell of a lot of signings here, which really allowed them to build. So they decided not to splash the cash on two really good players. They splashed the cash from Dele Alli, of course, but the rest of them, they spread the money around sensibly. Manager movements. Are there any big names in the in this division now? I mean, Chris Houghton's in charge of Chorley. Nigel Pearson's in charge of Hyde. Well, who's in charge of Whitehawk? But maybe they've still got their original manager. I suppose they have, because look at those stats. Because if they're winning the league, then they don't need to get rid of him. It's brilliant, really, isn't it? The FA Cup was won by Chelsea 3-2 against Man City in the final. Goal scorers William Oscar, this guy who I can't pronounce, and Aguero. So they've still got a lot of their players obviously playing in the conference. Chelsea have gone up, Man City haven't. So Chelsea and Arsenal going up. Although I assume they'll get to the Premiership straight away, but we'll have to find out, won't we? Wycombe winning the Capital One Cup. Of course, Chelsea and Arsenal will be in the Capital One Cup next season. But it's good to see Tranmere and Wycombe winning the Capital One Cup. Southend get into the final as well, which is good for them. The Community Shield was won by Hull City 4-0 against Hayes and Yedding. Of course, that was the FA Cup winners against the Premiership winners. Tom Ince with a couple of goals, you can see there. The Johnston's Paint Trophy was won by Torquay, 1-0 against Rochdale. And now this is the FA Trophy, of course, was won by Tottenham, 1-0 against Liverpool. Now let's see how our lads did in the Champions League. You can see Hayes and Yedding finished bottom with 1 point of their group. As expected, Whitehawk also bottom with 0 points. And lastly, Wealdstone 0 points. Bit unfortunate, but never mind. The Europa League, I'm not sure how many teams are actually in it. Hyde finished bottom, 0 points, minus 20 goal difference. Poor Hyde. Always been bullied. Gloucester finished bottom. They actually managed a win though, which is good. Who did they beat? They beat... Oh, I thought it shows you who they beat usually, but it doesn't. Who else? Hull. They actually didn't finish in the top 2, but of course they're playing in a lower division nowadays. But I think that, I mean, they've done well actually. They've been promoted. They've won the FA Cup. They've got into the Europa League, or the Euro Cup as it's called on here. So that's the end of this episode. Oh, actually, we'll have a quick look at the England team, see what's going on. Roy Hodgson's still in charge, and players are still the usual players in there. But it'll be interesting to see what happens long term to the England team, because I think that will be affected. You can see all the teams they play for here. Most of them still at, well, typical big teams that you'd expect, but there will be some players filtering up the divisions over time, I think. But thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed it and found it interesting. I know it's a long one, but hopefully you found it interesting enough to watch. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, meaning that you know when part 2 is out immediately, or well, you'll see it in your sub box anyway, and that would be brilliant. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you in part 2, which will be uploaded in the coming days. I hope you're looking forward to it.